I felt not self-sufficient. I felt inadequate. I felt I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't coding fast enough. So all in all, I talked about shame, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, self-deprecating kind of personality plus intro. Hey guys, welcome back. This is gonna be my first video on my YouTube channel. I want to talk to you guys about imposter syndrome that I had, kind of a feeling like I'm a fluke or like a fake while working at Microsoft. Yes, that Microsoft, the company that builds Windows computer, Microsoft Azure, Office, Excel, that tech giant. All right, so to give you background, because this channel is about my vulnerable feeling, I wanted to give you guys like my inner kind of a feeling that I didn't really have a chance to expose to my friends or like people around, because it's easy to protect ourselves. It's easy to defend ourselves from getting rejected from people because we are all scared about how we are considered or looked and seen from outside, from other people's perspective. So we always like to have a shield to protect against our ego. We don't want to be shamed. We don't want to be embarrassed. We don't want to be in a weak, naive spot where we feel like we are not strong enough, we are not smart enough, we are not intelligent enough, we are not, successful enough. So I worked at Microsoft main campus. This is story time, all right? This is story time. So bear with me if I'm choppy because this is a really unedited video about my story, stuff that I didn't really talk about before, but definitely a lot of people probably experience. Alright, so when you think about Microsoft, it's like, oh my god, that's like one of the biggest companies in the world, like Google, Apple, Facebook. Wow, that's amazing. Some people have already even told me, wow, your parents must be so proud of you. That kind of stuff I got, when I told them that I worked at Microsoft. But the reality is that, yes, I was super excited. Like, the day like I had a job offer via email, I was like so excited. I was like, my life changed. And a lot of people think like that, and yes, it did. But while working at a Microsoft, there are things like, like self-doubt, if I'm like good enough, if I'm smart enough to work at Microsoft and deliver results to your manager, and you're just only new to computer science or software engineering because you were a second or third year student while I was doing an internship at Microsoft. So I needed to learn a lot. Just because I got internship offer from Microsoft or Google or Facebook doesn't mean like I knew everything. I needed to learn a lot of stuff, and then looking back now was pretty basic stuff like JavaScript, jQuery, or C# stuff. It could be about object-oriented design stuff. After like 3, 4, 5 years of experience right now, I can definitely say that some of the stuff that I was doing was pretty basic. But as a third year computer science student, it was pretty tough for me. And especially in the beginning, the learning curve is pretty high, right? In computer science, it's one of the most difficult majors to study in university, engineering, computer engineering. I felt like I wasn't able to. I was feeling a little bit nervous because not every Friday. I'll give you background. Every Friday afternoon, there's some kind of intern events going on, and my boss, like my manager, told me to like leave the office around 5 p.m. so that you can enjoy Seattle in the summertime. I guess my boss was told by probably HR department to tell interns to do that, because intern experience is not just about working, but it's also about having a good fun experience during the summertime in Seattle. And the summertime in Seattle is super beautiful, like lakes, beach, the mountains, hiking, all that sort of stuff. So intern comes with fun summer experience as well as fun project, real life experience at one of the biggest companies in the world, tech companies in the world. So he told me to go, leave the office at 5. But obviously, great power comes with great responsibility. And to be able to be efficient and effective at work, and then be able to leave office early so that you can play softball, go to a softball game, or go do fun with other intern students, you need to be super effective and efficient. You need to be good at what you do. For me, project that I was working on during that time wasn't something that I was used to in terms of tech stack. So I was new to JavaScript, jQuery. I was new to C# as well. C# is more advanced than Java. It's proprietary Microsoft language. A lot of stuff were new to me. My strengths at the time was Java. and I transitioned to some a little bit like in the full stack development, and I a little struggled a little bit. And also as an intern, we are not used to like being exposed to huge gigantic code base, which is quite often the case when you start working at much bigger companies like enterprise companies, as opposed to startups where everything is like greenfield, meaning that everything is starting from the small project. If you go to big companies, they have gigantic code base, and you need to be able to understand, read code, jump from one function to another class to be able to understand the flow of execution. And you need to spot where to edit, where to refactor code, where to add new code. And that takes a lot of practice, try and error. And that's something that I really struggled a lot. So there was like I remember I did like 7, 8, 9, 10 iterations of code review. That took a lot of time because obviously code reviewer also has work to do. So there's some turnaround time back and forth. I commit fixes based on code review, and then I wait for them to code review and then come back, and I need to understand and redesign, add another patches and commit the code to repo, and then get the new code reviewed, and then come back again. So turnaround time 8, 9, 10 iterations is pretty slow, and a lot of like in a time you need to wait, you need to be multitasking so that you don't get blocked completely. So a lot of time was lost. During the time I had we set up a one-on-one bi-weekly, or I think it was a weekly one-on-one with my supervisor, and I was doing good, pretty good first half, and the second half I kind of lost my track because my supervisor left for vacation, and also the requirement was kind of vague, and kind of only had one guy to talk to, but he was busy as well. Ended up like slipping by, and it was pretty much like only 1 or 2 people know about that project, and I was pretty dependent on that one guy, and it was new. I was new to the project, and there are a lot of like different dependent components. You know how it goes. If you're too dependent on one person, project's too big, and there are a lot of complexities. It's hard to make changes as a software engineer, especially you're an intern, right? You need a lot of guidance. So that's the time I felt like, I'm not sure what my boss or other engineers that I was talking to think about me, because maybe I was asking some dumb questions, stupid questions, but I was working at Microsoft, So that's the gist of the story. When you work at one of the biggest and one of the most difficult tech companies in the world, you don't know answer to seemingly pretty basic questions. You feel like, is it just me? Is it just me that who can't figure out this problem or questions? Is it just me that who cannot understand this basic question or this basic technical problems? And I felt like, asking questions to those people surrounding myself would be like making myself a burden to them. I felt like, if I'm asking them questions, I feel like I'm stealing their time, or I was bugging them. I felt not self-sufficient. I felt inadequate. I felt I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't coding fast enough. And I was comparing myself to other engineers, other interns. And obviously I was comparing myself with some software engineers who have been working at Microsoft for like 3-4 years. So definitely a lot of things were going south by doing that kind of stuff psychologically, because everybody comes from a different place, right? And even if you don't know about some technology or some stuff, it doesn't mean you are not smart. It doesn't mean you are not good enough. It's just that you weren't at the same stage as other people are right now at the moment. You can always learn new things, and you can always go from where you are to the future point.